How to play Ed GETLEY. Funny enough, as I'm making this video, this is actually a re-recording. I already recorded a video on how to make Ed like 5 days ago, and it's been sitting waiting to debut on YouTube, and I am now making a re-upload, a remake of this video because I learned some different things recently that really changed my perspective on how you should be approaching the perks in Ed's skill tree. And it's really based around the stamina video that I recently will have uploaded by the time this goes live, and how many dodges you get and stuff like that, based on what perks you invest in. And so I really wanted to go back and redo Ed so I didn't have like outdated information on the video that I had made 5 days ago, because hey man, this game is ever changing. This game is constantly changing, and you're constantly learning new information. It changes the way you approach the whole game. So first, let's get into the abilities. It's a trap. Is when activated, this ability grants the use of a unique flashlight that allows you to detect and temporarily disarm demon traps. This ability is insane. I highly underrated this perk the first time I rated Ed in my original tier list when the game first came out. Ed is the #1 survivor that I was dead wrong about. Like Scotty, I said he was really bad, and then I played him and he is that every bit as bad as I said he was. He's definitely D tier. Ed is not. Ed, I think in my original tier list I had him in like D tier. Ed is probably A tier. And I think that if AOD Ash gets nerfed, which may happen at some point, and if the basic unit possession spam meta that's prevalent right now gets nerfed, which I believe it will happen, it may even already have happened by the time this video debuts, I don't know, but I think it will happen at some point regardless. Both of those characters will then drop below Ed, I believe, and then I think Ed becomes the best character in the game. That's pretty gross. How wrong I was wrong. How wrong I was about Ed. So yeah, Ed, this ability is nuts. Being able to disarm traps is crazy. It's a 40-second duration. 40 seconds his flashlight is on and will disable traps for you. And by the way, when I played him, the range on this thing is ridiculous. The range is absurd. If any part of your unique flashlight, which has the same range as your normal flashlight, even tickles where a trap would be, it disables it. So it's really good. I mean, I have moments where I will enter a house and my flashlight, my unique flashlight, will disable every trap in the house, every trap in the area, including traps that are on the second floor. It'll disable traps that I can't even see yet. It'll disable traps that are on the other side of a wall. It does all sorts of crazy stuff. And as far as I'm aware, and I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong, not only does this disable environmental traps, this also will disable traps that the demon has placed, like portals. You know, like jump scare traps. It'll disable everything, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong about that. Someone will have to let me know. I know for a fact it disables environmental traps. I'm iffy on whether or not it disables basic portals. Somebody in the comments will let me know, and I'll be sure to reply and pin it if I'm wrong. I'm certain someone will let me know. Enduring Light increases the battery life of your flashlight. In a vacuum, this is a really bad perk. Really bad ability. I rated it super low in my ability tier list. In the context that it's on Ed, it's an amazing perk, because you're gonna have your flashlight on practically the entire match, because when he's using his It's a Trap ability, that 40-second duration, it drains the battery on his normal flashlight. So it counts as having his normal flashlight on. So you need that extra battery life, because he's gonna have his battery or his flashlight on about twice as long as a normal survivor would, because of his It's a Trap ability. So in that regard, this ability is essential on him. Weapon Master Crossbow, Another reason I wanted to remake this video is because of the new information that came out about the way damage works in this game. Hunters get a 50% increase to range damage, all range damage, and then Weapon Master gives them an additional 30% in whatever that weapon is. I mentioned this in some of the warrior videos I made, and I may have incorrectly mentioned this in like my Evil Dead 2 Ash video, which is that the weapon masteries on warriors are almost worthless because they only give you a 5% increase. But the weapon masters on hunters are very good because it gives you a 30% increase. So it gives you quite a bit of a damage increase compared to warriors. So with hunters, you usually want to consider using whatever weapon they have a mastery in because it has such a massive increase. In my opinion, I think the crossbow is still so bad and so hard to aim with, even with a 30% damage increase. I wouldn't recommend using it. It's just too hard to hit. If you could get to the point where you're able to hit shots with the crossbow, absolutely you should use it, because it, like, numbers wise, it's the best weapon in the game. It's the fact that it's not hit scan and it's a projectile weapon and how bad latency is in this game that makes it so bad and so difficult to hit shots with. And you have to hit headshots or you're leaving a lot of damage off the table. And you're not, it's going to be really hard to hit headshots consistently with a crossbow. So I still wouldn't recommend picking it up. The last one is the Collector, which increases the chance that defeated enemies will drop items. Also improves the chance of finding crates of higher rarity. The first part of this is very important. It makes running multiple hunter strats more viable because you're going to get a lot more ammo drops for everybody. It's also great for your supports because it means enemies are going to be dropping more amulets and more shemps. So that the first part of this perk or ability would be fantastic by itself. And then it also improves the chances of finding crates of higher rarity. As far as I'm aware, the way the second part of this perk works is the game essentially checks if a level 25 Ed is in the match. And then if there is one and the Collector perk is active, they will randomly, you know, buff crates throughout the map. So it's not a matter of like, oh, Ed needs to be the one who opens the crate. Ed needs to be nearby the crate when you get to it, and that'll raise its chances. As far as I know, none of that is the case. It just automatically applies this ability to every crate in the match when you spawn in, if you have a level 25 Ed. Other important thing to remember or mark about this is that, again, as far as I know, this does not improve the rarity of items that pop out of the chest. Some people are like, oh, well, if you have a level 25 Ed on your team, when you open up a white crate, you know, there's a greater chance you're going to get a rarer weapon pop out of it. That's not true either. As far as I know, yes, it is possible that you can even have a legendary pop out of a white crate. I've seen it, but that's not because of Ed or his level 25 Collector ability. It's just a random chance. For his perks, this has changed quite a bit for me as well, as far as where to assign this based on the information I learned about his stamina and the way stamina works on all hunters. If you fully max out staying power and you fully max out Artful Dodger, which is something I've recommended on past hunter builds, you get 7 dodges. And that is the only way to get 7 dodges on a hunter, is to fully max both of these perks. However, if you only invest 1 point into staying power and you fully invest 3 points at Artful Dodger, you'll still get 6 dodges. So it's the least amount of points that you could spend for to get the most bang for your buck. Like, you get 6 dodges without needing to invest 6 points to get 7. So, like, you know, I don't know, it's the best, like, perk economy. I don't know what you want to call it, but for 4 points you get 6 dodges instead of 6 points for 7 dodges. And I don't think you really need 7 dodges. Six dodges is enough. And then that also frees up 2 extra points for you to spend elsewhere. So that's what I would recommend. That's how I would build Ed. I would definitely only put 1 point into staying power and then 3 points into Artful Dodger. That'll give him 6 dodges. That's plenty. You only need 4 dodges to dodge an entire combo from an enemy, and you're gonna have 6, so you get 2 more to work with. A little extra wiggle room for you. That's plenty. As far as the other perks, put 1 into long shot so we can work our way over here. Absolutely max out hollow points. You want to get as much damage, range damage as you can on him. As far as which path you want to take here, I would go down and take stopping power over divide and conquer, because I think balance bar damage is more important than dismemberment damage right now. Even though I think maybe spread is probably better than recoil, because recoil is basically non-existent in this game anyway. But balance bar damage is important, and I'll tell you why that's also important later on as we get deeper into this perk assessment. You're going to want to put 1 point in here and then go ahead and max out Wig Splitter. Down here, put 1 point into staying power, like I said, 3 into Artful Dodger, like I said, 1 point to Deadly up close, 4 points into Last Chance. Last Chance is an absolute necessity on Ed, even if you don't believe in, like, you know, using guns that only have 1 bullet in it, because it's good on the blunderbuss, which I think is the best weapon in the game, and it's good on the crossbow, which is the gun that he has a weapon master in. So you absolutely should max out Last Chance no matter what. After that, you're gonna have you're gonna have like 3 leftover points. Well, not 3 leftover. So let me show you what I want to do here. If you were just starting him out, I would do this. I'd put 1 point into this. I'd go ahead and put 3 points into this until you unlock the 3rd tier of perks. Then I'd put 1 point into staying power and max out Artful Dodger as fast as I could. So I could get those 6 dodges right away. You don't want to spread out your points between these 3 because it's only a 5% increase on each one. I like just taking the, you know, extra increase and extra range damage, like taking 5% more range, 5% fear resistance, 5% maximum stand. That makes such a negligible difference compared to a 15% bonus in range damage. Just put them all into 1 perk as you're working your way through the tree. Then go ahead and max these out so you can get those 6 dodges as early as you can. From there, you have a few different options as to what you could do. If you feel like your damage is lacking, you could go ahead and try to max out Last Chance as quickly as possible. Me personally, you can't get to it right away, so that's something to consider. You may have to go here and do this first. So go ahead and max out hollow points, put 1 point into this, and then max out Last Chance as fast as you can, if you feel like your damage is lacking. If you don't, then you could go ahead and invest your points into Fear No Evil right away. Get that fear reduction. This is where those extra points that we took away from staying power are going to, is Fear No Evil, because fear resistance is great. Then you get your pink F upgrades in game and increase your fear resistance even further. That's the one thing you don't want to have happen, is getting possessed as a hunter, and having maxed out Fear No Evil on every hunter is probably a very good idea. But yeah, I would max out Last Chance, and then we would work our way over here, going to stopping power, firm grip, and then try to max out Wig Splitter. So if you look at this, we have 7 points to work with. 5 are going to go into this, 1 into firm grip, and then 4 into Wig Splitter. That leaves you with 2 points left over. Now, where you could put those 2 points is going to vary, and I think there's 3 different options. You could put 2 into stopping power to increase your balance bar damage to 25%. This is something I would recommend doing if you feel like you really want to deal with basic unit possession. This can really help out your team. Like if you're a hunter, you can pop them with a shot, really rock their damage bar, and then hopefully all the melee characters start banging on the possessed unit and will stun them, so they do minimal damage to you. This is definitely an option. I ain't afraid of no trap. 25% reduction of fear received on demon traps. I think that this is less important on Ed because his ability, his bread and butter, is literally disabling demon traps. So on other hunters, I would say it's a very good idea to put your last 2 points into this. On Ed, it's not as required. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, because of his ability. Or if you feel you need even more damage for some reason, if the bosses are really strong and you're really struggling to kill them, you could go ahead and get Deadly up close to get that extra 25% damage when you need it. So then, like, if a boss shows up and everybody's really struggling to kill him, you get an extra 25% damage. You could just run up to them and barrel stuff and headshot them and do major damage and possibly even one-shot them. So Deadly up close is great if you feel you need extra damage. As far as some of these other perks go that you might ask about, I wouldn't recommend putting points into quicker cooldown. It's only a 10% difference, which is just not worth it. I mean, it's going to give him 6 seconds shaved off of his ability, which it's just not worth it. Like, it goes from a 60-second cooldown to 54. Maybe that makes a big enough difference over the course of a match for you to invest in that, but I don't think it does. If there ever was a character where that would matter, it's probably Ed, because basically every time this perk is available, this ability is available, you want to activate it. So, well, not every time. We'll get into that into the gameplay in a second. Down here, light therapy, fear reduction speed. Don't put points into this. You already reduce your fear ridiculously quick when you're next to a light source. You don't really need this. It does lower your fear much faster when you're near any light source, not even a matchstick light source. So, I mean, that's good, I guess, but I just don't think that it's worth it. But it is something to consider. You can max it out. I'll probably experiment with it even more. Quicker picker-upper. You don't need to put points into this. You already pick up items really fast as it is. 25% time reduction just isn't worth it, even under the idea that you're picking up every single ammo box that you see. And then reinforced amulet's not worth it because it's only a 5% damage reduction. 5% is not worth a 2-point investment. You could also put 2 points into Divide and Conquer for 15% dismemberment damage. I just don't think that's worth it. It's just not. Like, balance bar damage is better right now. Maybe if the meta shifts, you will go up here and go through this instead and max this out with your final 2 points. But for now, I would recommend stopping power instead. Long shot, you don't need extra range. Guns already have ridiculous range. Any range beyond what they're maxed out at anyway, you're not going to be hitting your shots because they're so far away. They're going to be tiny little pixels on your screen. And so that's pretty much it as far as maxing it out. As far as where you want to spend those last 2 points. Me personally, where I would spend them, I would put them into stopping power. I would increase my balance bar damage. That's what I would do. As far as his pink F upgrades go, in game, this one is, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It really depends on your team. More and more I'm finding out that pink F upgrades are kind of dependent on how the match is going and how your team plays. If you take a look at this, the most obvious ones are stamina and ranged. Both of these are very, very important. However, I also think that shield bars are very important if you have a very good support on your team. Like, if I have a support on my team who's playing really well, and we've established that the demon is not rushing us with basic possessed units, I'll probably put points into shield first, just so I could get some of those extra shields from my really good support. But if that doesn't if that does happen, if we do get basic unit possession rush, which we will in 90% of our games right now, then I'm either going to go ranged or stamina first. I personally think this is going to depend on how good your team is. If your team sticks together really well, put all your points into ranged. If your team is really spread out, put all your points into stamina. Because stamina you will need to just dodge and run away from the basic possessed unit, because you're going to be by yourself because your team's all spread out. If you have a team with you, that means it's very likely the demon's not going to focus you, and you're going to want this extra damage instead to kill that unit as fast as you can. So this is just going to depend on how the match is going. You want to get to level 5 on both of these first. Don't spread out your points. Don't go like 3 here, max one or the other out first, because the level 5 upgrade on both of these is so insane. You want to get it as fast as you can. 25% stamina regeneration essentially means not only can you dodge 6 times once you max this out, 7 if you have all the stamina perks maxed. It means that after you've dodged a full combo, you can just walk backpedal, and then you will completely regen all that stamina and be able to dodge another 6 or 7 times. So that's really ridiculous. Range damage, you need that 50% reload speed reduction, especially on Ed, because not only is the blunderbuss the best weapon in the game, which I recommend on all hunters, if you are someone who wants to use his crossbow, it's just like the blunderbuss where it's one shot and you need to reload, and it's a very slow reload speed. So you need that reload speed reduction. So you're going to upgrade either range or stamina depending on how it's going. Then I would say shield or fear depending on how the game is going. If you don't have a really good support, I'd definitely go fear first. If you have like a demon who's jump scaring you a lot and setting lots of traps, go fear first. So it's really going to depend on how the match is going. 30% fear reduction plus the 20% that you're spending on that perk if you're following what I recommend. 50% fear reduction on your own. With a leader ash on your team, it goes up to 60%. No, it goes up to 70. And then if leader ash has El Jefe Grande, it goes up to 90. So that's really ridiculous. You can get to the point where you basically are never going to get possessed. So again, I would say if you have a leader ash on your team, by the way, regardless of how else the game is going, get this third. Get fear third. I might even say if you have a leader ash, get this first. So like I said, it really depends on how the game's going. After that, melee and health does not really matter. Both of these are really pathetic upgrades. You basically should never be meleeing, so I would just take health by default. Having a little extra tankiness, even if it's only 50 points, is fine. And then melee last. Melee is definitely going to be the least important thing that you need. As far as range weapon goes, we've already talked about this. Definitely want to use the blunderbuss. The blunderbuss is great. This is what I'm using in this video. It's going to one-shot pretty much everything. It shoots logs, like the way that you can hit headshots with ease with this thing is amazing. So you definitely want to use the blunderbuss if you can find it. The crossbow I would not recommend just because it's so hard to hit shots, but if you are able to hit shots with it, absolutely pick up the crossbow, because like I said, you get a 30% bonus with the crossbow on Ed. So if you're able to hit shots with it, go ahead and take the crossbow. Outside of that, look for a revolver, and that's pretty much it. Just revolver, blundy, hunting rifle, and crossbow are kind of what you're looking for. As far as melee weapons go, that doesn't matter at all. Like all hunters, you're going to be picking up the scraps of whatever your team doesn't want. Yeah, you're gonna let all the good melee weapons go to your teammates, especially your warriors, and pick up whatever they don't want. Try to get stuff that has like high balance bar damage, I would say, so you can kind of protect yourself if need be. Surprisingly, I actually kind of like the spear on some hunters because of its reach. It really does a good job of making sure to keep units away from you. The other reason that you want to get a nice balance bar weapon is because in the beginning of the match, you don't want to shoot your gun because it's going to let the demon know where you are. You want to get something that does good balance bar damage so you can get a finisher off really quick. So as far as melee weapons go, same thing as anybody else. Like, try to get an axe, try to get a sledgehammer is very, very good because of its balance bar damage. Bats are high priority. Shovels are high priority. The sword, basically anything that's two-handed is what you're going to be looking for. And how you know the difference is how your character swings when you swing your weapon. When you swing, if they have two hands on it, it's two-handed. When you swing, if they don't have two hands on it, it's one-handed. Pretty simple. As far as gameplay goes, like I said in the beginning of the match, you want to make sure that you're not shooting your gun right away, try to find a weapon and melee everything as best you can. Dodge, dodge, dodge with Ed as much as you can. Use his Q anytime you suspect that the demon is in the area. Don't use it just unnecessarily. Like if you're in the beginning of the match and you don't hear demon growls near you and you don't think the demon is near you at the moment, don't use it yet. Save it. Definitely use it when you're looting and you hear the demon is nearby and you need to like loot a house or anywhere else that's dangerous that has bad choke points. Activate his Q. That's when your team needs it most. When you are doing the dagger and the pages step, like right here, as soon as you turn on the objective, go ahead and hit your Q and you can disable those traps for pretty much the whole objective time. And that's very, very helpful. It's less units that they can spawn and makes capturing both objectives very easy, or easier. That's also going to apply to the Dark One step and the book step. Just activate your flashlight as much as you can while doing those objectives so you can disable all the traps around you. Just dodge very carefully. You probably just saw in this video a few seconds ago. You're going to dodge and try to read enemies' attack animations, which means just dodge, 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 backpedal. Don't like freak out and just start, you know, spamming the dodge button because then you're going to waste all your stamina for no real reason. You have 6 to 7 dodges. Use them wisely. If you use them well, then you can solo points. This is actually a replay. What you're watching here is a replay of me soloing both points. And I will have already posted a video of this gameplay on the channel by the time this video comes out. And the way I did it was by just being very, very careful and calm and dodging every single attack. And that's basically how you want to play every hunter, is just be careful, read how the attack animations work. Make sure you understand that every demon has 4 attack combos. So you're looking for 4 attacks and you're just going to back dodge. You can even dodge like through them, which is something that I need to work on. Like if they swing at you, you can dodge like past them, and then it's possible they'll miss their next hit because they'll be like, whoa, where'd the guy go? So that's something to keep in mind. You don't have to necessarily just dodge straight back like I do in this video. But yeah, use his Q whenever the demon's nearby. Use it on points like this, and be careful and plan your dodges well. And that's pretty much it. That is how you play Ed GETLEY. He's one of the best characters in the game. I hope this video helps you. I hope that your builds get better as a result, and that you can solo points just like I did in this game right here. He's a fantastic character. His collector ability is incredible. And hey, as always, I hope this video helps you. Don't forget to subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.